We're joined by Senior Analyst for the Cyber Technology and Security Program at the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, Dr Gatra Priyandita in Canberra. Good to talk to you. Thanks very much for joining us on News Breakfast.
Morning, Bridget. Thanks so much for having me.
Just tell us, what's happened here? We understand that Qantas has received some sort of communications with the potential hackers. How important is this development in your view?
I think it's very important, and it's in a way quite expected. I mean, last week again we heard the news that there was a data breach that affected 6 million Qantas customers. Hacking groups, criminal groups, they very rarely conduct hacking operations without financial gain in mind. So this news story that there's a potential ransom that Qantas is being extorted is very much possible. And
what sort of communications do we understand would have happened here? How do you sort of verify the types of people who are in touch with you, and would Qantas have been expecting this?
I would think so. Again, I think when you're harvesting so much information from a company, there's that expectation that that information will get sold. So Qantas is working together with the Australian Federal Police as well as Commonwealth cyber agencies to try to investigate these claims made by the cyber criminals that have contacted Qantas. They will have to, for example, look into the claims themselves, see whether the information that the cybercrime group has taken and has said that they've ransomed, is genuine. And once that is confirmed, Qantas will likely make a statement, and if they choose not to pay, for example, I think it's very much possible that the hacking group could release the information to the dark web.
Really? So it's a sort of, it's held at ransom, really, people's information in an interaction like this?
That's right. That's right. I mean, so far as we know, the information that was taken away include things like names, email addresses, frequent flyer numbers, and date of births. Now, that information is sufficient to conduct things like spear phishing campaigns, where targets are specifically targeted for scams. It's also possible that this kind of information will be used for identity fraud. So they're really valuable, and it's 6 million customer data. Just 1% of it can be very lucrative.
And Gatra, how sophisticated are these operatives typically? Have we seen other cases, similar cases around the world of large companies being affected like this?
So hacking operations targeting private companies have been increasing in numbers and scale, I think, over the past decade or so. They become a lot more sophisticated. We do know that, for instance, that part of the method to hack into the database was to use voice phishing. Fooling the other side into thinking that you're a person to be trusted. And then there was also a lot of social engineering. Now, airlines are becoming larger targets of these campaigns, in part because, of course, they hold a lot of information, customer information. But beyond that, they also depend a lot on a long supply chain that is oftentimes not super secure. So as we know, with the Qantas hack, it was vulnerabilities with a offshore supply chain in the Philippines.
And Gatra, what sort of issues are raised for a company like Qantas after something like this happens? It was using a third-party platform to store data, which a lot of companies do. Does it now need to look at that relationship between a third-party provider or put more security procedures in place?
Definitely. I think multinational corporations, again, are becoming larger targets of cyber operations, both by criminal organizations as well as state actors. Obviously, I think companies like Qantas will be imposing fairly strict security measures within its own systems. But criminal organizations are intelligent. They try to find vulnerabilities, and they're not just going to target Qantas itself. They will target also companies along the supply chain, which is why it's increasingly important for multinational corporations that store huge amounts of data to also make sure that companies that they work with also meet high cybersecurity standards.
Gosh, it's fascinating and scary at the same time. Gatra Priyandita, thanks very much for joining us on the program.
Thanks so much for having me.